Hello and a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning in to your favorite news destination. You're watching In Your Interest with me, Kabir Naqvi, and on this segment tonight, first up, we're throwing light on a story that might just disturb our viewers. What makes the drowning death of a 27-year-old software engineer, Yuvraj Mehta, quite unbearable is that this wasn't an accident at all. This was a death that was foretold. The authorities knew it all along. They had been warned all along. They had the letters, the reports, and the time, and they did nothing about it. Let me start with the most chilling detail. This was not the first time someone nearly lost their life at this exact spot in Noida, Sector 150. Just 2 weeks before Yuvraj's car plunged into that waterlogged pit, another vehicle, a truck, fell into the same ditch. The driver barely escaped, and yet nothing was done about this unbarricaded pit. No barricades were installed, no warning signs or symbols were put up. The broken boundary wall of the drain was left damaged as it is, and the pit, it remained unfilled. The stretch, it stayed dark with no street lights, even though this entire area is known for heavy fog during the winter months. So when this young techie, Yuvraj Mehta, drove through that same spot on the 17th of January, he was driving into a death trap that the system had chosen to ignore. Now, let's go back even further. On the 9th of October 2023, the Uttar Pradesh Irrigation Department sent a detailed letter to Noida authorities with a clear-cut warning. The letter explained that rainwater from Sector 150 flowed into the Hindon River through an open drain. It also noted that as new sectors were added into the area, construction rampant, like you can see, the volume of water discharge would increase significantly. And this would mean higher flow velocity, it would mean greater turbulence and increased danger. And the department, the irrigation department, in that letter recommended installing a head regulator with gates to manage the water flow safely. And here's the thing, a joint inspection was conducted before the letter was sent, and officials admitted, mind you, they admitted that earlier designs were inadequate. They acknowledged that revised designs and 30 lakh rupees in funding was pretty much necessary. So the authorities knew, they inspected, they designed, they audited, they budgeted as well, and then they filed it away for never to be opened again. It wasn't just the irrigation department, mind you, that raised the alarms. Add to the list residents of Noida, Sector 150, that had been complaining for months on end. On the 2nd of September, just last year, in 2025, Noida's Member of Parliament, Mahesh Sharma, forwarded a formal letter to the Noida CEO, the Noida Authority CEO, on behalf of these very residents. They were asking for basic civic amenities. How shameful is that? Basic civic amenities to be addressed. They wanted their concerns to be heard. But once again, just like that irrigation department file, the complaints were received, they were acknowledged, put in a file and shelved. The people who lived there every day, who drove through those very roads every day, who saw the dangers building up, they were ignored. And this is the pattern that we see not just in Greater Noida or a particular sector of Noida. This is the pattern that we see across the country. Shouldn't we now raise our voice? That citizens continue to raise their voice, they write these letters, they knock on the respective doors, and then the system responds with silence until something terrible happens, just like in this very case.
सच है कि अब से लगभग 1 माह पहले 2 माह पहले हम सब लोगों के पास जहां ये स्वाभाविक प्रक्रिया है कि जब सब आरडब्ल्यूए के या कोई भी व्यक्ति अगर आता है तो हम उस पत्र को अधिकारियों के या संबंधित विभाग को अग्रेषित करते हैं और उसे मॉनिटर करते हैं। उसमें हम
जब आपकी चिट्ठी का लोड नहीं ले रहे अधिकारी तो आम आदमी की चिट्ठी का कैसे लेंगे? आप
देखिए मैं आपकी इस बात से सहमत हूं कि उसको चिट्ठी को लिखे हुए 2 महीने का समय हुआ है लगभग, और उस पत्र के बाद उससे पहले भी घटना, पहले भी शायद 15 दिन या 20 दिन पहले एक घटना भी हुई है, एक युवा की मौत हुई है। मैं भी दुखी हूं, पूरा समाज, पूरी सरकार, पूरी हमारी पार्टी, हम सभी इस दुख की घड़ी में परिवार के साथ हैं। लेकिन हमारे मुखिया, हमारे मुख्यमंत्री जी ने तुरंत प्रभाव से तुरंत कार्रवाई करते हुए।
लेकिन अब इस कार्रवाई का फायदा क्या है, क्योंकि वो तो मौत एक जिसकी हुई थी वो तो हो
ये
गया
बात
है।
से मैं
जो सिस्टम है
आपकी इस बात
नियम के अधीन है, डीएम पे कोई कार्रवाई क्यों नहीं हुई?
आपकी इस बात
नोएडा
से
अथॉरिटी के सीईओ तो अभी यहाँ से हटा दिए गए, डीएम का क्या है?
देखिए, आपकी इस बात से मैं सहमत हूं कि इस सारी कार्रवाई से उस मृत व्यक्ति का जीवन वापस नहीं लाया जा सकता। हम गलतियों से सीखते हैं। आज उसी व्यवस्था के तहत मैं भी आया हूं।
Those are the big questions. Noida Authority CEO has been shunted out, but what about the DM? And these are questions that the residents are now asking, because think of that father who quite literally heard his son begging for help for hours on end, only to be, met with a body that was recovered at least 3 to 4 hours later. And this was a death that laid bare the systemic inaction. The site that lacked the barricades, various lapses. They lacked reflectors, warning signs, and this was right on the curve. The pit was not drained, it was not filled either, and the area was not stabilized. Fog-prone stretches had no proper street lights, and complaints were not followed up with the safety inspections. Today, a lot of development in action that you see over there, and the developers, the land allocation, were not compelled to maintain the area or stop sewage from flowing into that very drain. Only after Yuvraj Mehta's death, he's not going to come back, mind you, did authorities move quickly. Barricades have now been put up over there, and the pits have been filled. The Noida Authority CEO has been removed from his post. Show cause notices have been issued to other erring officials. A special investigation team has now suddenly been formed after 2 to 3 days, with a 5-day deadline by the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh to submit their report. And a broader safety review has also been ordered. We could see some of those boats doing their rounds on the same water-filled pit. An FIR has been filed against the developers, charging them with culpable homicide and negligence. A builder has also been arrested, but all of this is too late for Yuvraj Mehta and his family. Why do civic authorities need a death to wake up when the dangers were written down in official letters years ago, 2015, 2023, just last year, the residents raising their voices? And what changes are needed in urban planning and maintenance to prevent such deaths in growing cities, urban structures just like Noida? With me, an esteemed set of panelists. Ranjan Dwivedi, former DGP, Uttar Pradesh, is with us on the broadcast. Dr. P.S. Rana, former CMD, Housing and Urban Development Corporation Limited, is with us. Very warm welcome to you, gentlemen. Amit Gupta, who's a senior executive member at the DDRWA, Noida District Development Residents Welfare Association, for a local sense of what's really happening over here. DGP Dwivedi, let me get the snowball rolling with you first. Multiple written warnings over the last 10 years. A prior truck crash that happened, the driver barely made it alive, and so many of these official letters that were shelved, they were filed, they were acknowledged, but then shelved. At this point, what stops being negligence and what becomes criminal culpability? I mean, we need an example to be made out of this case.
Yeah, Kabir, let me say to begin with that this is just the tip of the iceberg. Something, all this commotion is happening because someone lost his life. Even in this case, suppose the engineer had come out alive, even then this commotion wouldn't have been there.
Yep.
So, it's a result of many things. Now, one, for example, the infrastructure is very poor. We have just one state disaster recovery force, one battalion, and only 500 people in that. Now, we must remember that UP is so large that if it was a country, it would be the 5th largest country in the world. And whatever arrangements we have here, institutions we have here, infrastructure we have here, has to match that scale. That requires money, that requires attention. That's number one. Secondly, the SOPs are very poor. What is the SOP for coordination between the SDRF, the NDRF, and disaster management in UP is in the hands of the UP PSC and the fire service. Those SOPs are lacking. There should be an arrangement and SOPs available and practice exercises done for all these agencies.
DGP, what are the current SOPs? I mean, when a victim is alive for nearly 2 hours, what is the standard rescue protocol? And where, according to you, did it fail over here?
No, that's exactly what I'm saying, that these SOPs are missing of coordination. You have to realize that you need swimmers in this. You need people, there's 16 scuba divers trained in SDRF, but they're all sitting in Lucknow. So you have to identify local resources you can tap on. This database has to be there, computerized, available to the local police, to the district magistrate, to the, in this case, the authority. All this has to be put together, and this is woefully lacking. Let me tell you another thing. And there's a corruption also in this. Why? Because whenever these projects are made, for example, here, or if the highway is being laid, and there are problems in the road, the steep falls, etc., there are costs built in that the builder or the highway maker, he will provide barriers and glow signs and bags to ensure that people get to know that there's a steep fall there. It's never there. Why aren't they prosecuted? I mean, why do we all, and small accidents happen, vehicles turn, people are hospitalized, and if it happens in some remote corner of the country or the state, then nobody really bothers and dies down. It's happened in the NCR, and mind you, this is another important thing. This has happened in the NCR. When you say NCR, then actually, truly speaking, it should work as an NCR.
Yep.
Gurgaon, Delhi, and Noida should work together. The resources that you have in our neighborhood, there should be a system.
But seldom does that happen. How often do these three suburban areas work in tandem? You said all the scuba divers are sitting in Lucknow, but should police and the local authorities have basic water rescue capability at these accident-prone sites? I mean, isn't that a need of the hour?
You see, absolutely. You see, that's what I'm saying. That the infrastructure and the resources available are woefully inadequate. And and I think what's very important now, somebody's died very bad, and we are very sorry. The people who are responsible should be punished, but this should be a wake-up call. We should get together to put all this in, and there is no better administrator than the public itself. Wherever these projects are there, or whatever precautions are required, there should be billboards stating what should be there, so that people can push the builder, they can push the highway maker into instituting these precautions and safety measures. Unless we do that, you'll find that corruption or lack of whatever, these things will keep happening, and we'll keep losing precious innocent lives.
You're absolutely right, DGP. I mean, one big question that we're trying to, ask here on the show is that how many more of these letters are being ignored? How many more of these complaints are being acknowledged and then shelved? Dr. Rana, former CMD, Housing and Urban Development Corporation Limited, with us on the broadcast as well. Dr. Rana, when multiple departments flag the same hazard over the years, where does accountability finally collapse? How are you looking at this? Is it a failure of planning? Is it failure of execution? Is it failure of authority oversight? And what's being done on the ground, is that enough right now?
Yeah, it is both. Actually, the failure in the planning, because such a T junction with such a major road coming and straightway going to the lake itself is a bad planning. Second, there are very strict norms for safety measures for the projects under construction. Even a simple building, that even the people should not be allowed to violate any of the safety measures. And those safety measures are totally ignored in most of the projects. I think our enforcement on safety measures for the construction projects is the biggest flaw in accidents. We always think of quick, but the projects have the very important element of the safety.
I'll ask you something, Dr. Rana. I'll ask you something.
Yeah.
Why is it that corrective actions, I mean, tomorrow newspapers are going to cover all the CEO and the top shots that are going to be shunted out. But why do corrective actions? We're talking about road audits that happened today. The SIT carried out their inspection today. There is quick and thorough leadership changes that happen after these deaths. Why does all of this only follow deaths? And why don't we document risk? Coming from your own experience, tell us.
No, the safety measures are mandatory for every project. It is a lack of enforcement, and I would say it is a rather main responsibility of the builder or the contractor who is building the project. Because everything cannot be simply by enforcement. It is the responsibility of the person who is implementing the project.
If a man can stay alive for 2 hours right on top of his vehicle and still not be saved, the question is not about what went wrong, but why nothing actually moved. Because cities, they're judged not by their skylines, but how we end up protecting our lives. And on the broadcast with us, we now have somebody who can help us understand the ground realities. We've got Amit Gupta, who's a senior executive member with the District Development Residents Welfare Association. Gupta ji, help the viewers understand. Residents say the warnings kept on going to these offices as early as 2015. What are some of the actual problems right now? How long were the residents demanding for street lights? And what are the actual problems on the ground?
See, the problem here in Noida authorities, there is no accountability or no responsibility at all. When we say that CU has been removed as a punishment, it's not a punishment. He was supposed to go in June or July because he was supposed to complete his 3 years in June, July.
Well, there you go. There you go. And what we're also learning, and Dr. Rana and DGP also listened to this, the eyewitness has also changed his stance. 2 days ago, he was gung-ho about what the authorities did not do, and now that stance is completely changed. Anyway, my apologies. Mr. Gupta, please complete your thoughts.
Yeah. So he was anyway about to go in next 4 or 5 months. So transferring him is not a punishment. It's just a routine exercise. Had it been a punishment, it should be suspended. Now the question I'll start why it happened. There are 2 parts in it: Noida Authority and administration. Yes, you are correct. 2 hours the person was alive. The administration, SDRF, NDRF, they were not able to save that person, despite being that the NDRF or SDRF officer there in Ghaziabad. It is not far away. And 2 hours are not less time. We have thousands of police person in Noida, Ghaziabad, Greater Noida that could have been saved. Now, why it happened? The plot was allotted to a builder. It was supposed to be a mall. The basement, the land was empty to made a basement. Then it went to a court case. Now, what happened next? There was no proper sewerage treatment facilities in that area. Although the authority claims they built a sewerage line in that, but all the dirty water of that sewerage from the neighboring societies were dumping in that ground. Why it is happening? Because the Noida Authority Jal Department failed, or Group Housing Department failed to take any action. Now, as one of the panelists was saying, very bad planning of the road. The road is going straight on the T point and then sudden right turn, and there is no barricading, nothing. Why there was no wall when the basement was executed almost 3-4 years ago? And before this incident, just 1 week before, a truck also faced the same issue. Luckily, that driver was fortunate enough that he was saved.
Mr. Gupta, from your own experience, help the viewers understand, give us a case study here. Have you gone to the Noida Authority to, complain about something? What kind of redressal are you met with? Are they able to completely resolve your grievance? What's the setup and system like?
They have very poor planning. Also, Noida Authority is the 2nd or 3rd richest authority in India, but still their process is very slow, very poor. There is no accountability. I'll give you an example. There is a road called 7849 in Noida. Again, it's next to an irrigation drain, like that one happened in 150. The road is caving near to that bridge. I have written a letter to Noida Authority in July 2025. I written a letter, WhatsApp message, Twitter. The authority said the area belong to the irrigation department. Then I wrote an official complaint to irrigation department. They come back and say, no, it has to be done by the authority. So even after to follow with both the authorities and irrigation department, that road or the patch is not repaired, and waiting for another accident. And if any accident had happened, the person won't survive there because that irrigation drain is full of dirty water. So they simply pass on. Like it was mentioned, the Honorable MP has written a letter to 3 months ago about the area problem that doesn't raise. What happened? Nothing. Street lights are not there. Why? When you're showing that 150 is your posh area.
And those are questions. This passing of the buck, DGP Dwivedi, is actually what's killed that young techie. This concept of Meri Topi Uske Sar. And like Mr. Gupta pointed out, the 3rd or the 2nd largest authority of urban structures in the country. I mean, amazing. And DGP, whilst you're answering, I really need to understand, everybody's talking about this dense fog. Of course, there was dense fog. The boy also tried to, showcase the rescue, operatives where he was with the help of a torchlight, a flashlight. I don't know how helpful that was. And my heart goes out to that grieving father as well. With these visuals, with the car being recovered again this evening, I don't know if the family is getting any kind of closure at all. I'm glad we're getting some closure in terms of those answers. But is fog a valid operational excuse, DGP?
No, absolutely not. You see, as my fellow panelist said, Mr. Gupta, that once he had complained to the Noida Authority, you see, he has done the job. The people have done the job to tell the, what is the authority? It's part of the government. They've told the authority, they have told government that this is a problem. It was the authority's job to sort it out. Whether it's irrigation department, PWD, this, that, so on, it's irrelevant. And if somebody has done that, then I think that person should be acted against very heavily. I mean, this passing of buck, and as you said, iski topi, uske upar and all that. I mean, this has to stop. Blaming somebody else. And another important problem in administration is there's very, very poor interdepartmental coordination. People hesitate to talk to somebody else. You need help, you don't talk to somebody else. So and Mr. Gupta is he's spot on. Once he has told any government functionary, his job is over. He's done his job as a good citizen.
Yep.
It's for that functionary to find the solution. If
this
not
lack
his-
of synchronization between the different departments, DGP. I mean, imagine you get a distress call about somebody in a water-filled pit, just like in this case. Another case study, a hypothetical situation. Not so much, and no pun intended, needless to say. Who leads the rescue command on ground in such situations? Is it the police? Is it the fire brigade team? Is it the civic bodies? I mean, you were earlier telling us the scuba divers are sitting in Lucknow.
Yeah, usually in any emergency, since the police are there round the clock, everywhere, they are the first people to reach the spot normally. And then it's for them to inform the officers take action, try to bring in resources. You see, the local Thana, the inspector, he does not have access to the resources available in the state, in the district, neighboring districts, and bring them in. Now, that is the job of these senior functionaries and the CEO of Noida, maybe a district magistrate, the police commissioner, and so on.
Yep.
So, but the first responder is always the police. And here, there's one more thing. There's a huge resource. There's a huge resource which is waiting to be tapped, and that is to engage home guards. We have about 3 lakh home guards in the state, and they are available in every block. Now, there was an effort, and there's an effort to engage them, but it has to be much larger to engage home guards in disaster recovery work, so that the moment they get the information, they know what to do, and an SOP to inform the fire service. You see, fire service is a department which has hoses and ladders and crowbars and so on.
And even when all of this equipment finally reached ground zero, it was absolutely incompetent. Nobody wanted to even touch the icy cold water. And the post-mortem report tells us that the nose was filled with mud, the chest was filled with water. Nobody had the courage, could muster up the courage to step inside that icy cold water. It took them 4 hours to throw a stupid-looking boat into that water-filled pit. I'm running out of time here. Dr. Rana, very quickly, Yuvraj Mehta's death, it's not an isolated failure. We know about it. Is it not a textbook case of criminal civic apathy that is replicated across the Indian cities? And what kind of legal framework do we have to bring these authority seniors to justice?
Legal framework is there, the rules are there, the procedures are there. It is a lack of implementation and enforcement. Even people, the disaster body have access even to the helicopters to pick up such cases.
Yeah.
It is a matter of minutes. Even the road accidents, the helicopters are used in the remote places easily. So there has to be proper utilization of the resources available. And as it was mentioned, that SOPs, they are on paper, but they are not being practiced. Even fire drills, tell me how many people even carry out the fire drills.
Yep.
Whether it is a road accident or a building accident, there are 2 issues here. One, how to prevent such accidents where the process comes. Second is, if the accident is taken, how to take care of it. And in this case, we have failed on both the accounts.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, Dr. Rana. How shameful is it that we finally required a Flipkart delivery agent to step into the water for the first time? Mr. Gupta, the final word to you before I wrap this segment up. You're the resident, you're the resident's voice. It was a resident whose life we've lost. And this show is also about what kind of value we put on human life. So what is the demand of the residents out there? All the cameras towards you.
The responsible officers, including the CO, the CO has been shunted out, that is not a punishment. Other responsible officers, other GM, OSG, other, they should be immediately removed. The concerned officer should be booked for culpable homicide, not attempting to murder, because it's a criminal negligence. Not only the developers, the officer should be. And we need to set an example, else nothing will change. 2 years ago, same incident happened at New Delhi railway station. A lady lost her life because of the electric wire. What happened? We have a very short memory. We forget such incident in 3-4 days when the media highlights are over, and then we move back, and then we wait for the another incident. The problem is there is no accountability, there is no responsibility, and nothing has been done.
Yep. All right. We hear you. We hear you. Those demands loud and clear. We're going to multiply this and amplify this message on our social media accounts as well. Many thanks to all three of you, Dr. Rana, DGP Dwivedi, and Gupta ji. Many thanks for bringing us up to speed with your insights. This was the first segment on In Your Interest. We're continuing with this top story of the techie's death because Yuvraj Mehta did not die instantly. He died waiting. He died waiting for help, waiting for a system that never arrived, and when it arrived, nobody wanted to step inside the water as well. And until that changes, none of us are truly safe. Stay tuned. Another debate coming right on the other side.